Let's start the news, and this one will interest you. The Energy Minister, John Peter Amewu, is blaming saboteurs for what he describes as the hacking of a high-tension electricity pylon in Tema, belonging to the Ghana Grid Company, Gridco. The pylon, which apparently transmits power from the Tema enclave to Accra, fell at about 1 a.m. Monday, causing outages in some parts of the capital, including where I live. Gridco says the power on the transmission line has since been diverted and supply to the affected areas has also since been restored. Well, he decided to do some tour of where the pylons are located, and the Energy Minister and other officials revealed other pylons are being targeted, prompting an investigation by the Ghana Police Service. And as Menu was on the tour and brings us the latest.
The collapsed pylon could be seen leaning on a nearby pylon, also transmitting electricity. Energy Minister Peter Amewu strongly condemned the action and those behind it.
Why would merit somebody to do this? We are Ghanaian, a country that believes in common purpose, common destiny for Mother Ghana. We're all doing this just because we want to live a Ghana that is better for everybody to enjoy. So I don't expect us to be witnessing things of this nature. But I can assure you, we put in intelligence. There's a committee in place to start immediate investigation. And those perpetrators will be brought back. And we will make sure that we'll deal with them by the law. I will not associate myself with this. And I don't expect any political party living in this country to associate itself with this type of happening. It's not good for us.
Some have said that this is self-inflicted.
This is a complete sabotage. You can see it. It's a sabotage.
It's not self-inflicted to give government an opportunity for excuses as far as the...
What government excuses? Excuses for what? For the chemicals they are putting along these towers? How can a civilized person do this to his or her country?
A close observation of the pylons revealed some substance which has been smeared on the stands of the pylon. That same substance had been smeared on at least 2 nearby pylons.
We have already detected that all the towers along this line, there are chemicals already being placed around them. The intention is to destroy them in future. We can't be subjecting our own country to this reason.
A source at the Security Department of Gridco tells JoyNews a black polythene bag full of the whitish chemical was seen at the base of one of the transmission towers and has been handed over to the CID. Mr. Amewu says security will be deployed to the site and all Gridco installations to ward off saboteurs.
Yes, the police have started investigation. National security is in charge, and we put in all necessary measures to make sure that we bring the perpetrators to book. Well, the site highly is supposed to be protected by our national, security. We expect some level of protections of national strategic assets of this nature. But some of these things cannot be everywhere and every time. And some of these thieves, some of these animals in our society will do things, just to outweigh the security. And this is what we're happening.
The Gridco Chief Executive Engineer Amwakuban told the minister the immediate steps being taken to save the situation.
So they are going to use hard iron brushes to try to take this out. So that is what they will be doing later. But currently, because of this, they are now patrolling all the towers to be sure of the numbers.
Determine the numbers. Yeah.
We have some elsewhere between Accra, Winneba, so we don't know what people are doing in the bush. But as I said, normally we go around every month and then they bring the report. So they will continue to be doing that, and then they would be bringing the report.
So I think you need to intensify.
Forgive us, a bit of a technical problem there. Now, Member of Parliament for Kumbungu, Ras Mubarak, has described as disappointing Parliament's decision to observe a minute's silence for victims of the recent shooting in New Zealand and the cyclone in Mozambique, even though no such gesture was accorded victims of last week's accident, which claimed about 80 lives here in Ghana. Now, speaking with JoyNews in Parliament on Monday, he said the House could have done better.
Of our compatriots have lost their lives. You know, never in the history of Ghana have we witnessed such twin disasters with this number of casualties. And I don't know what is happening. Probably once Parliament is still in session, perhaps there may be something before close of day.
All morning, there were 2 separate minutes of silence on both disasters, but not on Gendampo.
That is disappointing. You know, it's a letdown of the people who elected us to represent them. This is a national disaster. Families have been touched by this, and we represent the people, you know, and one would expect that even if a statement weren't ready, there will be at least a minute silence as a mark of respect for our compatriots who have lost their lives tragically. But I'm also disappointed by the fact that the president hasn't found time to visit surviving victims, many of whom are still in hospital. And again, that shows a lack of leadership. I'm sure if you've been following international news, the Israeli Prime Minister has cancelled a trip to Washington to head back home to Israel. And for what reason? 6 people are injured when a rocket was fired into Israel. Just 6. That is leadership, you know, in such tragedies.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament on the Roads Committee, Isaac Ejaymensan, says he is not impressed by government's efforts to deal with the current road carnage in the country. Despite its insistence, it is on course with the implementation of the recommendations of a 3-member committee of ministers on road accidents. He says a lot more work needs to be done.
If you set a timeline and everything, it's not working. So let's re-look into the system, the rules and regulations, the support, the structures in place, and add some more to it and intensify the road and safety education thing. It works. I think that in the past there have been some successes on the NDC where we provided resources and where we continued to ensure that people are engaged and education and so on put in place properly. It works.
Are you seeing that same level of commitment?
I think that it's lacking. When you get accidents going up, you see, the issue is that you can have benchmarks. If you put in resources and structures and the results are bad, you can say that when the accident levels were better, I'm talking about a situation where it has reduced, and now that accident is going up, you still would think there's a problem with the system. So the government will have.
You are convinced as such that there is a problem somewhere,
of course, yes,
which is
need to be fixed.
Making it impossible for them to work as they were during your regime.
Exactly. So we need to put in more energy to get it done. As a committee, the committee will ensure that whatever it takes to put the government, you know, at its toes, we do it. But the government must have that, you know, responsibility, that tenacity to say, yes, I want to make sure that we have reduced accident. You don't just throw the curtain or the towel out and say that
They are boosting of successes. The information ministry indicates the task force recommendations are being, you know, met to the latter. The task force comprising the interior, the roads,
so there's accident. And so the accident, when the accident, you don't just throw the towel away. The issue is that we put in place all these structures to ensure that there is safety, life is safe, and so on. You travel and you go and come back safely. And so, in spite of all the structures, you say we've done this, we've done that, and there are accidents on the road, on the way, you know, come on.
Now, let's stay with the legislature, where government has put before Parliament a bill seeking to make education compulsory from kindergarten to senior high school under what it describes as a redefinition of basic education. President Akufo-Addo, who announced this at a meeting with the visiting Vice President of the World Bank, Dr. Hafez Ghanem, said the move is to develop the human capital of the country and make them competitive in the global space. Now, Dr. Hafez Ghanem is in the country to discuss various areas of cooperation between the World Bank and Ghana while applauding Ghana for the induction of the free senior high school program. He expressed concern about the phenomenon of forced and early marriage among girls of school-going age.
First of all, we are very supportive and we are of your decision to make all education free. I think up to secondary school. I think that this is extremely important, and we would like to help and support that as much as possible. One of the issues that worry me, and not just in Ghana but across, actually Ghana is not as bad a problem, is not as big a problem as in other countries in Africa, is the young age of marriage for girls. Yeah. The fact that many of our girls leave school early and get married early and have children early, which has demographic implications, but also have developmental implications because they are unable to look after their children and we lose. So anything that we can do to keep the children, boys and girls, at school until the end of secondary school is critical. And we would be delighted and happy to help as much as we can.
On his part, President Akufo-Addo said that the bill will ensure no child is left behind in education.
If not this session, before Easter, the next session, we intend to do a redefinition of basic education in Ghana and make it from kindergarten to the end of secondary high school and make it compulsory because that becomes therefore a strong legal weapon for making sure that all of these girls go to school. It's a critical matter for our, so that's a reform that is on its way. Unfortunately, the national constitution has already had it that basic education should be provided at the expense of the state, i.e. free. But then basic education at the time the Constitution was being written was understood to mean kindergarten till, I think, primary. But we now want to expand it up to till the end of secondary and make it, and bring it within the constitutional imperative of it being free. I think it's an important development to address exactly the point that you're making.
Well, that's it for the news. And of course, it's definitely not the end of the show. We've got so much coming your way. Triumphant return of baby Mausi. We'll also be talking about everything that's in the newspapers. Stay with us.